We're back with another little Wet Your Palate segment where we talk about what we just talked about.
Accent.
So, today we've got some special guests, guys that we see on a regular basis, but seldom do they like to talk about what they do because they like to just get their shit done. We got John Lopez and Nick Reinell, part of the winemaking team here at Copper Cane. Really the leaders of the winemaking team here. We did a little harvest recap, which sounds pretty boring, but I think it's good for people to learn a little bit about the dynamics of a trying year in a trying climate for wine.
The wine in the bottle, the story that you take when you sit back, enjoy a glass of wine, and you talk about the story that kind of made that the people. That's what
the
I
people,
enjoy.
the people, their stories, what they did. Yeah, that is a huge part of it.
Yeah, an acknowledgement for our team.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all busted our ass here the last couple months. Still got to put some things away, but our team deserves all the recognition and more. Maybe a few more lobsters.
We got some extra lobsters.
We got some extra lobsters. Our team is fantastic. Yeah.
And we have a theme, and we catch ourselves once in a while, but it's a we mentality, and we always speak as we. We make a decision. We make a decision. It's structured. We have a we mentality through thick and thin. It just reminds us into the year of everybody working together and keeping that family environment going another vintage. Because there's less and less families making wine that are true families. So we're very proud of it. And we don't take any of this for granted, that we're healthy and that we're able to be part of this story in the Napa Valley. So it's a reminder.
Keeping that culture alive, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I also love to hear about the evolution of the wine. Even today, we were talking old world, new world, and you guys had some recent experiences in Bordeaux and learned a lot. There's a lot of education here.
There's a lot more to talk about still. We should probably do these more often. Jump onto the full episode. There's a lot of shit in there. How about the other movie that really pissed me off was E.T.?
Why did
that piss you off?
He wants to go home.
Waiting this whole time to finally see a fucking alien, like they show it a couple times. I don't remember there being a lot of screen time with
E.T.
with the alien.
Other ETs?
There's tons of screen time.
With E.T., the original E.T.
Mm-hmm. Yes, dude.
I don't remember being a lot of screen time.
E.T. Oh no.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, he's in it.
I know he's in it, but it was like I just felt like it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe
I
I watched it as an adult.
Dude, I think I don't know if you watched E.T., dude.
I definitely watched E.T. But I think I was really young.
You were really.
I was E.T. for Halloween, thanks to Nick.
Yeah.
And then I took my face off and I ripped it.
You were-
I ripped
that's
my
right.
face
You
off.
were E.T.
I was E.T.
Yeah,
Yeah, my brother said it looked more like a scrotum.
it did.
Yeah, so
It looked like a ball sack with eyes,
With a
like
couple eyes.
big old eyes.
But what E.T. were you doing? Like, doesn't he where he dresses up
Like a
like
girl.
a?
He was the winemaking version of E.T.
Yeah, had the
Yeah, he was
vest.
Drinking Bowen.
Oh, a vibe, like
whatever
an
it
ET.
It was a cowboy E.T. Cowboy. He didn't go on his bike. It was a horse. We had the cowboy hat on.
And he drinks Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we wet our palates?
We wet the palate after.
You wet palates at the end. I know.
You do
I
a
know.
recap.
We do
It's
the
a-
recap of it, yeah.
But then you're wetting it. You're actually wetting it for other people.
We don't have a bullet point sheet. This is
No, I think Chris is going to try to guide us through with some stuff.
Free Willy.
But
Does he always do his little
what do you-
go gummies? You're not
No,
running
dude.
a marathon here, dude.
This right here, this is the new shit. Well, I'm not like, okay, we're not sponsored by Rhone. Okay, I just want to put that out there. But this honey, it's all pumped up with caffeine and stuff. He got me onto it. Raw honey. It's caffeine from green tea. So
Okay.
it's clean energy. It's 100 milligrams. And it gets you fucking going, dude. I'm pumped.
It pumps
I've
you-
had,
pumps you
5,
up.
dude.
I mean, it's like a very smooth,
Not right now.
double
after
shot
this.
of espresso.
I'm gonna tie your head to
But
the
it doesn't make you
cord of
shit your
this
pants.
mic, choke you out like.
Fair point.
Sorry, we're live,
You're
dude.
looking, yeah.
Don't
You're
talk
right
smack
now. You
today.
can't-
I'm not gonna handle it.
We have this.
I'll bring
thing.
you some honey packets. Every time I say honey packets, you got to try one of these. Even my kids are like, "You use the honey packets?" I was like, "Yeah, they're great for great quick energy." And they thought I was talking about the gas station honey packets that are the equivalent of boner pills.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, "No, kids, not those."
These are kind of the equivalent, though.
Isn't that like a
They got
certain type of honey?
The ingredient.
Supercharged honey.
They get you supercharged. You get energized.
Oh, I see.
What kind of honey is it that is supposed to be like affecting your libido? Isn't that a certain type of?
It's not, is it the Manuka?
Yes.
Can you look up what kind of?
Yeah.
Is it Manuka honey?
The
The
New
Manuka.
Zealand Manuka honey.
Mynuka. Did I spell that right? Did I get it?
4 dudes in the room want to know.
Yeah.
You know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be locked in here for a couple hours, hey, I never know where it's gonna go.
A testimonial.
Okay, note taken.
Testimonial.
Okay.
He's like, I don't want. They're not sponsoring this podcast,
Yeah,
but I want them to sponsor.
That-
Mind over matter, Chris. Mind over matter.
Yeah. Oh, benefit risk.
Okay, honey pack is a small packet of honey. Some contain additional ingredients that manufacturers claim will benefit male sexual health.
Wow.
However, some also contain unlisted drugs.
Okay, well, we don't need to read this anymore.
I like it how they got a note down here, a note about sex and gender. Sex and gender exist on spectrums.
Hey, do you? Does it come in 59 gallons?
Get that in.
Hey,
Hey, wait. Oh,
you
you
want
put
to?
it like, wait. You can't.
You
add
want
it
to see
some
exciting?
wine? Oh, shoot.
Watch this.
Joe will have us fermenting it
like-
in no time.
Doesn't Pinot like?
Yeah, we're gonna make mead now.
Mead.
We're gonna be.
Joe's gonna go. What's that drum of honey that comes in the cup of cane?
Yeah, you-
It's a little honey, Joe.
Wait, doesn't Pinot like?
We'll just
increase your
call the
libido?
brand Baby Maker.
baby man.
Okay. Baby
Morning on
maker.
That stuff, that Pinot.
I agree. Actually, our wines.
Thank you.
I have heard a lot of stories about our wines in particular,
See,
kind of
Yeah.
elevating
The libido.
situation, maybe expediting the process of
Oh.
from flirtation to closing the deal, so to speak.
We've talked on the podcast
Yeah.
before they put the pull tab on there that, and you know, at the beginning of Belle Glos,
Yes.
he was getting some pictures, right?
Yep.
Yep,
Just unsolicited,
Yeah.
just
pretty cool.
random.
It's
Pretty cool.
Well, I mean, no, there were like rarely ever faces, so you know you're just kind of assessing based off of, you know, it wasn't like girls you don't want to see.
if you look at our wax on that Belle Glos, it's very male and female, right there.
Yeah,
So covers both,
top to bottom.
top to bottom, baby, from head to toe. I don't want to go in more descriptive. You can use your imagination.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but I think we could do a little bigger of a pull tab, maybe.
I think we do a breakaway pull tab just in case. Yeah,
You got to get back in glow in the dark.
yeah. Well, for the 25th anniversary, we're going to be doing a ribbed wax.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I like it. I like it. But I do like glow in the dark
Very
because
good.
we have a lot of PG&E issues where there's no light. You
Oh.
get lost. Can't find the wine.
Yeah,
This is gonna be really, really good. It's gonna be 2 minutes of a vintage report and then
Just
whatever
bullshitting.
the FLs for 68
like your
minutes.
gizmo beard that you call
Yeah. Thank you.
The Gizmo Beard. All right, well,
Gizmo Beard.
okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the introductions. Welcome to Go With Your Palate. I'm Joe. I bit my fucking lip.
That's your name.
I just bit my lip.
Joe, you ruined it. Did you bit your lip, dude? Okay, dude.
I'm Joe Wagner. We got my co-host, Chris Fat Mario Rubio, and today we're doing a special harvest report with two dudes that have some experience in wine. Well, we've been working together for years. John Lopez, director of
Always
winemaking,
wave.
and winemaker Nick Reinell. So, John, you've been doing this since 98?
1998. Joseph,
1998.
Feels like yesterday.
And Nick...
I mean, various capacities like started in the vineyard since like I was like 17. Like, yeah, a lot of various capacities of
Yeah.
wine production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17 years old or 27?
17 years old.
17 years
so,
old.
Like,
17
I'm
years
going
old.
on what?
Yeah. I can
23, is that math?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Almost 6 with copper cane.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Sixth
six.
harvest. Just the sixth
He's,
harvest. Time flies.
Yeah.
It does.
And what's cool about this vintage is, well, welcome. Not that I don't see you almost every day, but
Nice to be on the show again,
Yes.
Joe. Appreciate it.
so this is our 25th harvest for Belle Glos, which is pretty exciting
Yeah.
as far as the just the vintage goes. So first vintage is 01. Now we're going into 25. So if you don't know how you do math vintage wise, it's not 2000 to 25. That is 25 vintages. It's 1 to 25.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like birth of a kid.
Oh,
Yeah. A little bit different.
Yeah.
a little different.
So you're going on 25 years. What I like to think about 25 years of Pinot in particular is like Pinot wasn't cool 25 years ago. There was a very small group of people that were doing some really good stuff, and very few of them now are still family owned, family operated. Like really have the old culture that I remember with like Pinot being kind of like this like out of left field. People were interested by it, but it was kind of eclectic, and the consumers were also kind of eclectic. It was way before mainstream. And so, I mean, who do we still have out there that has not sold the brand or moved on? I mean, I was trying to think about this. Wow. Like, that was one of the OGs. One of those OGs that I could think of was like Pizzoni, like Gary Pizzoni, still doing his shit.
Yep, Francione.
And Francione.
Francione.
But I don't know when he had, because he was farming Pinot. I mean, they started like Gary's Vineyard, right?
Yeah, Rosella's and Gary's.
But he started Roar. I'd like to find out when he started Roar.
Yeah.
Roar, those are some good wines. I think Testarossa. Did they ever sell?
I think they did.
I think you're right.
Art, get on that.
Art's got the sticky fingers back there. Yeah, but anyways, so this harvest, I mean, it was an odd harvest, but I'd like to hear everybody's perspective on it. Like, I could chime in right now, unless you guys, like, you want to start with, like, your highlight and low light?
John, you lead the way. You are director.
Okay.
It's all light.
Yeah, no. Our first pick was August 25th, right, Nick?
Yep.
We brought in our Sauvignon Blanc, and it usually sits on, we pick every vintage either 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after that date. So it was pretty spot on. We brought in a very balanced Sauvignon Blanc for this vintage. But to kind of look at the overall harvest, I'm going to start with, obviously, Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir from down south from Sonoma to Santa Barbara County. The type of weather we experienced this harvest was cool. We had enough heat. We had good hang time. Pinot flowed from south to north appropriately, just perfectly balanced with enough hang time, exposure, and just beautiful weather. As we moved into, obviously, we have some Zinfandel. We also showed very well. But as we move into the core of our cabs, Cab did also very well. We saw probably some of the darker colors that we haven't seen in a while, and part of it is the cool weather, very balanced. It's what I would refer to as a more traditional style of harvest for Cabernet, but dark, rich, and balanced in a way where you get color, tannins, and just a little bit of less ripeness, but very balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We'll dig into the varieties a little bit here. Nick, you got any lowlights, highlights?
No, I mean, the highlight, and I'm glad you did the reminder of we're on the 25th vintage of Belle Glos. I believe we started with like CT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the best color, like, for Pinot Noir we've ever seen. And wines of, like, just balance and finesse just right off the get-go. So it's like, this is super exciting. I mean, this was a Burgundian dream where we still have all the ripeness of California, but like kind of that color intensity stayed there. And we were just hitting things timely, like just nailing that kind of like peak phenolics color, like of the vintage when it came to Pinot. And then Cab is kind of a little more like Bordeaux style, like vintage. Like
I think you called it out in the vineyard, right?
I did. I knew you'd bring it up too. And you're like, you filed it in the rain. I was like, I might have to say that.
Like the Solemns are going to be like, oh, this is the most Bordeaux vintage of Napa in centuries. But I will say, so yeah, it is exciting that we're going in. This is our 25th year. We're going to be doing some promotion on that in probably like 9 to 12 months is when that'll all start. But the quality on Pinot, it's one of the best years I've seen on Pinot.
Yeah.
Even the color, like you mentioned, man, just I can't believe it. Like, I mean, there'll be sample bottles in the lab, and like, I think I thought it was Cab.
Yeah.
Like when I saw it, and rich, fleshy, but still, good acidity. So I'm really excited about the vintage. But the hardships of the year were, I'd say, like Napa to South Napa. that was we ended up, for anybody wondering out there, we ended up not picking a few blocks that either got rot, so sour rot, botrytis, grapes are falling off the vine, they're low Brix, low sugar, all that stuff, and just not worth even bringing in and trying to make good wine out of it. So I think what we got in the barn, like you could kind of see it tapering off where, I mean, the areas that thrived this year for Napa, for all reds, and Cab in particular, are the traditional hot areas. Calistoga, surprisingly, like Childs Valley, right?
Yeah.
That was one you guys are stoked on.
Yeah.
And that's where our Sauv Blanc comes from, too.
Yeah.
And so usually those areas can be a little either overly jammy, a little flabby, but this year is the year that they thrive. But the flip side, South Napa, like, went to rot and went to hell in a handbasket pretty fucking quick. Like, we were watching it. I mean, we got out there a couple times and got to see it. We're like, a little bit of rain, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done this before. Go out there after the rain, like, give it another week and like see if we get the Brix and sugars up, and it just didn't come to fruition. So I think we're gonna have a very short vintage. We do have a very short vintage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like volume wise, that's not always a bad thing.
No.
And if it's not exceptional, like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
There's,
I was gonna say, I was wondering if we could dig a little bit deeper, because I feel this is really interesting for even the average wine drinkers in our audience, the up and coming wine enthusiasts that want to get hardcore about it. When we're talking about different vintages, and I know you guys with your expertise, like looking at every different vintage, what the weather and climate was like, and how that translates to what people say. So, for example, if someone's like, "Oh, I'm looking at this vintage where that year it was an extremely hot summer," or they got unexpected rain, coming in September, October. What that tells you, and what that might mean for the wine that they're going to experience, or for that year for you guys.
I mean, I'll start by saying we try to stay, consistent as possible, vintage to vintage. Whether people like to admit it or not, they don't generally look at the vintage and decide, oh, I'm going to buy a 21 over the 2020 vintage because it got bad reviews overall, like as a vintage, right? So I think people appreciate that about our wines. Like, they can rely upon them. They don't need to worry about vintage rollover. Yeah, there's going to be some variation, but those variations are intended to be kept very small. And all that comes down to the picking decision, the farming, and the winemaking. And so, I mean, if you guys want to describe kind of what you think, as Chris is asking, kind of like, give us maybe an example of a vintage that sticks out in your mind that you would say was either similar to this or optimum, or what we should expect, or what our customers should expect of the wines from, like, just starting with Pinot.
Okay. So I think the way we source fruit, once again, Joe, it started back with Mayomi. I think Joe has selected areas and vineyards where, no matter, as Joe said, we have fluctuation in weather, and there's predictions of this harvest is not a good harvest, or it is a great harvest, but we have the consistency of the layout of the land, the way Joe has envisioned. How do you build a consistent brand? I talk about this a lot, because this is a prime example of Pinot Noir. We'll start with Pinot Noir, is how we had Monterey, we have Los Alturas that experience good heat, good temperature. As you go south a little more, Santa Barbara, you have a little bit of more cooling weather, but also, warm weather in different sites. So the best way I always describe it is we're really consistent. And when we have a really good vintage, what's called a really good vintage, those parameters rise to the top a little more. So we always stay in the zone, and we're always going to be very good at any type of harvest or temperature grids that are presented, and we just kind of move up and down. But like, this is a prime example with having just a very subsectioned, perfect weather from Sonoma, and you work your way south and you go Monterey, Santa Barbara. It's just very well balanced because of the locations of the vineyard and the way they're farmed and the relationships with a lot of the people we do business with.
Yeah.
So that's the best way I can describe it. We're always in the zone, you have you just get either excellent. We're always on the very high line of the style of wine we want to make, and we're very consistent. And then, again, to summarize, the vintage will kind of prioritize kind of where you are in the zone, but we feel very consistent every year.
And then there were a couple fuck ups this year. I mean, there was some shit coming in. Like, okay, so you said the starting date of harvest, the end date of harvest was November 5th.
Yep.
So November 5th, and that shit was coming in pretty low, like 20, what'd you get, 22, 23s?
Yeah, 22, 23s.
So usually those blocks are hitting 25s easy.
Yeah.
We're talking Brix.
Yeah, Brix. So if anybody listening, Brix is a measurement of your, more or less your soluble solids, and that's mostly glucose and fructose, your fermentable sugars. And then you generally just run a calculation to say, if I have 25 Brix coming, out of the field, that's going to equate to X percent of alcohol after fermentation is complete. It's not a perfect science, but that's kind of,
pretty close.
Generally speaking. What number do you guys use? Like 0.57 as your multiplier?
0.59 has been working.
0.59?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it changes.
Yeah.
But,
and you just kind of build it at the beginning when you go, shit, we're way off this week.
Yeah. But I will say, like, overall, one theme I think that will carry through for the entire vintage, not just our stuff, but I think statewide, is slightly lower than average alcohol levels.
Yeah.
Because we were seeing stuff come in fully ripe, and it was like 24.5, 25 Brix. And in other years where we have a light crop and a lot of heat spikes and everything, you get a lot of sugar accumulation. You're at 27, 28. Those are kind of the bookends. Like, this is as low as I've ever seen it, but still ripe.
Yeah.
Well, you just noticed something too, like we just mentioned heat spikes. So if there's like heat spikes, you can kind of look at that to raising Brix that you're gonna.
The vine wants to produce more sugar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the vine trying to do at the end of the day? It's trying to get sweet enough for a bird to eat the grapes and then shit the seed somewhere along the way, right?
Or a bear.
Or a bear. Yeah. Bears like grapes too. Yeah. So I mean that's what it's trying to do. So it's accumulating sugar. Every heat spike you get, and crop yield matters too. But you want nature generally will shoot for the moon if it can. But that's.
And I think we discussed. I think we all discussed. We were one heat spike away or two from reaching that optimal.
Like greatness across the board.
We were 1 week away from it. Just a heat spike. 1 week is all we needed. It just didn't happen. And some to be said for heat spikes. Sometimes we talk in a negative fashion. Heat spikes are great. Some of the great vintages have 3 major heat spikes, and then you determine the length of them and this or that. But again, we were one heat spike away. Mm-hmm. You would agree, Joe? I mean,
I think it was one. It was one heat spike away, and also it was
one heat spike away.
You know what I think really screwed us in the South Napa part, and I want to talk about Quilt first in a second, but South Napa was the amount of fog. Like you'd walk out there, and it was as if it rained that night. Yeah. Everything was so wet, and then it would move up the temperatures like pretty quickly. So you had moisture, you had heat. It was like perfect conditions for rot to set in, and I think that was the biggest issue. So if it was like dry, clear skies, and even like 90, 95 degree days consistently, I think we would have made it through. But
you can almost draw a line like from Wapo Hills south.
Yes,
and because that's where you have fog, but the humidity was so high this year with these systems.
Yeah.
And you can have fog, but it burns off. But this year it just sat.
I was surprised by it.
Sat.
I even said, Joe, I guarantee that's going to be ripe. And no, it wasn't ripe.
Well, we call it here in California, we call it the Thule fog, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it is, if you've never driven through Thule fog, don't. I think it's what I'd say. It gets so fucking thick, your visibility could be like, 10, 20 feet in front of you at times?
Yeah.
It's just like walking in a thick cloud. So that's what we got. We got that towards the end of the season. But I did want to touch on Quilt because this is the type of vintage that really, I think, showcases the idea of Quilt, where you're working with these different appellations throughout Napa. And this is where, Calistoga and Chiles and St. Helena, Rutherford, those are all thriving. Those are going to be, by and large, like a great vintage for those areas. But you're going to have the offset of something being kind of like mediocre in Oak Knoll and then shit just in South Napa not even making grade. And so, in hot years, it's the opposite. South Napa is like the rock star, and you're a little drab in the hot areas. So it does allow for us to work in and out of vintages really well. And like I said, what we do have in the barn, although it's much less than expected, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, we all have pretty good memories. It's funny how we could probably go back through our career and remember every vintage, from a weather standpoint. 23 was kind of like this in pockets, and like to your point, like there's a resilience built in when it comes time to blending because we have hot sites, cool sites, and there's a little bit of that in 23 even. Like, and I had to remind myself about that like throughout the vintage. But
Just
this
a
one
hair more elevated where, again, we talk about Brix. The Brix were a little more elevated earlier, and they just stagnated a little bit.
Was 23 the vintage that we...
Vintage of the year.
No, yeah, it was.
Joe, that by the way, Joe, that was your vintage of the
that
century.
and that still is my favorite
There you
cab
go.
vintage ever.
What is it?
2023 is my favorite cab vintage ever.
Really stable.
Yeah, and that's not. I'm not saying. I'm not saying
it's-
that because it's in the market. I said that like
He
when
said
it.
it. He said it
no, you
on
did
a
say it. You
fermenter.
did say it.
On the fermenters.
Yeah, when it was coming out of
Oh,
tank.
you made the
This is my
announcement
fucking-
on the
He did.
fermenters?
Oh, yeah.
I think
No,
it's,
he
yeah.
did.
is the greatest.
He did.
I blessed it.
Yeah.
I fucking baptized myself in that shit.
But this vintage, Joe, also there's the positives of all of it is what we experienced was super healthy fruit. Fermenters were really clean. Obviously, fruit fermentation's not struggling because it's a very natural fermentation. So very clean, dark colors. So very healthy. What we brought in was very healthy, clean. And,
Yeah, you know, that's another thing that you guys have brought up a few times throughout this vintage. Not a lot of sulfite issues.
No.
So when you say healthy fruit, maybe explain what you mean by healthy fruit. Obviously, you've got your yeast assimilable nitrogen.
Right.
That there's no rot, those acetobacter levels are low. Like, and then there's no stress. I think because you summarized it pretty good when we were talking on the crush pad.
Yeah, it was a little more as you push higher sugar levels, you change the denominators of a fermenter, so you have a little more bacteria. You have the yeast is stressing out a little more, so there's more of a fight going on in a fermentation. So as you push the yeast, kind of it offsets. It throws a little bit of you build a total sulfur. So there's more total sulfur in wine at the beginning, even before you add sulfur. It's a byproduct of the yeast. So you have higher total sulfur. You have also sulfite issues because of alcohol being a little higher and attacking the yeast. So there's increments of different varieties of difficult stages for the fermentation when you pick a little riper. And this was none of that. We maybe had a couple tanks in cab, right, Nick? But
Yeah.
very slight. So
Like low stress ferments.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that
Which
has to
is
do with
important for our style. You
Yeah.
know, we're not like extracting the hell out of it at like 95 degrees. Like we want all those aromatics. We want all that pretty color. We want all that.
Yep.
And
And
so-
Take it slow.
Starting early, Nick and I discussed about kind of as we saw a few things come in, we also cut back the yeast additions lower. There was no need, whatever the recommendation of the dosage, we brought it back knowing we don't need all that. Just keep it clean. No byproducts of the yeast in totals. So we're seeing very low totals on finished fermenters. Lowest we've probably seen since we've been making wine.
Lowest I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have done this whole thing all native.
Yeah. we probably could have. I was waiting for you guys to.
Natural.
We thought about
Natural
it.
wine.
We thought about it for,
And then we just went, no.
you
maybe
know what?
not
Hey,
that
fuck
fun.
what's been working. Let's try something completely new.
Yeah.
At least all the, idiot Psalms will maybe pat us on the back.
Have you guys ever thought about just doing like non-intervention? Maybe just taking a year vacation or something?
Oh, all the time.
We're not the government, Rubio.
We're not the government.
Yeah, don't get me started, Rubio. Fat Mario.
Oh my
Rubio.
god, dude,
Lean into
I
it.
get Jalen's guy. Like it when he gets hot, he gets like, he gets spicy.
We
Man.
have
It's
to
that
take a
the-
break.
Let's
the
talk a little bit
Mexican
about
heat,
the spoilage organisms because I think that is you're dealing with, as you mentioned, you're dealing with yeast. It's an organism. There's
Yeah.
a number of other organisms, bacteria and whatnot that can take hold, and literally sour your wine. So the stress factors that every organism has some stress factor to it. You've got food and nutrient that the yeast need, and that's inherent in the juice. But then you've also got alcohol being created. They're creating their own poison, right? At some point, they if the alcohol gets too high, they get stressed out and they can die off. You stick your fermenter, and then you got shitty wine. But the issues that can most commonly arise if you're not watching, paying attention on a daily basis, like you guys are smelling the tanks multiple times a day, tasting daily. So like hydrogen sulfide, mercaptans, these are all sulfide issues in general, as we would call them. They can smell like onion, rotten eggs, asparagus, just a number of characters. If you don't break that chain with the use of something like a light copper treatment, then it'll just be part of the wine going forward. And that's how you make French wine.
Dude, yes, dude. Rage bait.
Now we're getting it.
Where my French people at? In the comments.
I mean, we in America, we've tried real hard to not make our wines taste like dirty feet.
Extremely hard.
But yeah, very hard. Except those the non-intervention winemakers. We let them do that.
Okay, we'll do a redeeming thing. Like we were in Bordeaux last year.
Yeah.
A lot of clean wine. A lot of clean wine nowadays. Like
So they've really cleaned their shit up.
Yeah, they have.
It was very
Yeah.
interesting.
Because they know the palate of the customer.
Well, yeah,
is
if you're
not looking
importing,
for old wines.
if you're
Yeah.
exporting on their end, like a lot of that wine, like yeah,
Yeah, different places, and then we brought it up in a polite way.
Yes.
This is not what I expected, and they'd ask, what do you mean? I didn't want to say like Brett, tired wine, and somebody telling you it's really good. No, the majority of the wineries we went to, and from high end to smaller family, they made note. They're trying to keep a little more fruit forward, cleaner style wine, and they're very aware of it. And it's very apparent when we were trying the wines are very enjoyable. And then there was also very traditional wines, more austere and rustic, that were also very enjoyable, but nothing so over the top where they make you agree that you like it and that's the way it's supposed to be, and it's completely flawed wine.
So did you also find that their levels of Brettanomyces, and that's for anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's generally like a facility issue. If you have Brettanomyces, it's more of like a winery issue that's been infected with this type of yeast called Brettanomyces, and it'll make the wines taste and smell like barnyardy is what they call it.
Yep.
Band-aids, like saddle leather.
You start to lose flavor in the wine.
Lose the fruit. That's
you start
first
losing
and foremost.
fruit. Yeah.
And getting more Band-Aid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your flavor profile drops out a little bit. You could pick it up very quick.
But so traditionally in the old world they would bottle their wines, and their wines could be actually good and fruit forward, but then having Brett, if it's unfiltered,
Yep.
Right.
then you have Brett going into bottle, and that continues to do its thing, right? And over time you lose all of that character, and that's where a lot of like the older world wine critics would be excited about it. Like they looked at it as like it's a living thing and it's continuing to evolve, and it's like, I don't know if you want it to evolve in that way.
Yeah.
And so did you see that in Europe? They're controlling Brett a little more?
The way we saw it, and thank you for bringing that up, Joe, is the modernization of their wineries caught us completely off guard. They have kept the traditional style and even down to their buildings and their barrels, but everything, probably 50% of the wineries we visited had been modernized with technology. They're very open and proud of it. Everything was more robots, more very clean areas, spotless, very impressive. And then they flowed nicely with their traditional ways. Obviously, their buildings and their caves or their cellars were kept up much cleaner than usual. But the modern technology that they've embraced, and I believe due to being more efficient and trying to just be efficient and a little cleaner, was very eye-catching, very impressive, actually. Very impressive what they were doing.
And what probably a majority of people don't see that we got to see is they're looking at all those microorganisms in the cellar. Like they're evaluating it. We're in a day and age where we're all have the capability of looking at what do we have like in our cellar, yeast wise, like bacteria wise. And so there's a higher level of control now more than ever. And you were seeing that like in Bordeaux as well.
The theme was cleanliness, technology. I mean, we had a light show with tanks going up and down, and I mean, something you would never see.
I always get surprised. Is like there's so much money around here, right?
Yeah.
And then you go there to like old world, like Europe, and you go, oh wow. Okay, these people own banks. Like, yeah.
They control the world's financial institutions. They can do light up tanks.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
it was like, where are we?
I was thinking there's got to be like some kind of, you mentioned like light show and stuff. I started laughing because I'm thinking there's some kind of impact also of social media and influencers, right? Because I'm guessing you got wine influencers and stuff that are like swarming over now to these facilities, probably getting more traction. People wanting to see the operations behind the scenes,
like they're including the post-worthy moment.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Like,
yeah, the light show. Like we got to do. Where's the wall? Like the mural or something. They can take a picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like that kind of stuff. But it also made me think of this like old world, new world. And again, I like to kind of figure this out for any person at any stage in our audience that they're at in their wine journey. Like what to expect when these words get kind of like thrown around, because I was curious, like when you guys were doing these tours recently, were you saying that the style of wine was maybe kind of, if not becoming a fusion of new world and old world, but more to that, or am I misunderstanding that? Yours is
just from our experience, and Nick, I'm curious to see what Nick. We didn't really discuss it in that detail, but we did see very traditional style, but you saw the new world coming in.
Yeah.
And they were excited to talk about, sometimes in the past maybe 20 years that I've been going there, they actually discussed trying to get ripeness in their vineyards, and there's more fruit, and we're trying to do this. Before, ripeness was almost talked down to, or no, we can't do that. But we saw more 14s, 14 alcohol, 14 8s. And we saw it going a little bit in that direction, and they were excited about it. So I think they see they can get a different balance, a different style of wine, but also keep the traditional side of how they make wine and how they see wine. But it's nice to see the diversity kind of flowing, and they're excited about it, and they're aware of it. They're very conscientious of it.
Well, if they did no change in their vineyards, no change in their winemaking practices overall, but they incorporated cleanliness and technology, you're still going to have a very different result in bottle. But I do know they've been changing their, I call them brackets, and every region, we're pretty loose here in America, honestly. Like we don't have the government breathing down our necks and telling us all this shit. Like you can only, get this yield per vine per hectare. And they have all of these heavy regulations. Otherwise, they lose their status, right? So if you're like a Grand Cru in Burgundy, like your top level, it's a certain plot of land, and it's you're told you can only hang this much crop on. And they don't even go by crop; they go by like hectoliters per hectare, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're outside of those boundaries of this much volume comes off of this much area, then you can lose your classification of being a Grand Cru. Then they also And again, every area is different. So I'm just talking Burgundy. They will bracket what level of maturity you can bring it in, or what level of ripeness. They don't even have refractometers over there.
Right.
They're using, it's basically a refractometer is how we measure sugar in the field. But what they have is it's basically the same thing. You put some juice on there, but it does the equation for you and tells you what your potential alcohol is, because they have to be within, I think it's roughly like 1% of alcohol. So if they say you're a Grand Cru, you're allowed to be at 13 to 14% alcohol this year, because we think it's a riper year. Then the next step down, you're 12.5 to 13.5. And so they kind of like bracket you, not just from a yield perspective, but also from a potential quality perspective. Because my thought was like, well, if those guys that are not in the Grand Cru locations, if they could get up to 14% alcohol, could they be contending with the Grand Crus from a quality perspective?
We saw, we were buying bottles that were $80 compared to $200 that we lean more towards that style that Joe's describing.
Well, even like you think of, like, personally, I'm a huge Chablis fan, and quite honestly, I like the Premier or the Premier Cruise sites better than the Grand Cru.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is a restriction kind of thing, but if it is, it's like, you know,
it's benefiting
what you get.
the other side a little more.
I think it is. I mean, you might just want to go down to like a Burgundy, you know, Vin de Paix, like just a wine of the land, and just not have any regulation, and be like, I'm getting a 14.5% alcohol Pinot Noir that's big, rich, and, you know, American palate minded. And everybody's gonna be like, for $25, man, I'd take that over this fucking Echezot.
They don't come to the top of my head now, but a lot of guys are declassifying over in France.
They're declassifying and they're going varietal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of saying this is a Burgundy, a red Burgundy, which, if you know, it's Pinot.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you're like,
now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know. But no, so they're just saying like, all right, this is from Burgundy and it's a Pinot Noir, and like shipping it over to America, because everything is shifting. Like, and it's really going more towards the American consumer, catering more to the American style consumer, which I'm not saying is only here. I think that's also
UK,
Australia, the UK, Canada, like even Asia. Like they're very much in line with kind of how we do things, I think.
Yeah, and there's
buying wise.
There's an opportunity to express yourself in a balanced way. When you say New World California, we're not always talking ripe. We're talking of a balanced winemaking that allows you to express the type of blend or wine that you want to create. So there's that connection. So it's good.
So getting back to clean ferments this year, dark wines, I think overall it's gonna show itself to be a great yet low yielding vintage. But I do want to go back to the common issues that we see in the winery from a flaw perspective. I think a lot of people don't understand it. Like, I'll start with saying, like, ethyl acetate. It's not necessarily a fermentation issue. It's apparently it's the dehydration of alcohol where it gets created. Ethyl acetate is more common in barrels or used barrels.
Right.
But it comes across as a nail polish remover character. Right. So like an acetone character. And this is the cool part about, one of the cool parts about wine, is that the level of that from a flaw perspective can vary depending on the variety or even the style of wine. Like, let's put a number on it. So you say it, you know, Pinot Noir at 120 is going to start smelling like acetone with a level of ethyl acetate of 120. Chardonnay, you can get over 300, and it's actually a contributor to the wine. So like, what is just so like the audience can understand kind of more in layman's terms what flaws you see most common coming out of the winery, out of fermenters.
Is this really the end? Unbelievable. Find out next week.